you ever, like, thought about what your dog would say if they could actually talk to you?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what if they could just tell us exactly how they're feeling or what they want?
Yeah.
Well, that is what we are diving deep into today with a pretty amazing story.
Wow.
We're going to be talking about a 5-year-old blue heeler Catahoula mix named Stella
Okay.
and her human, Christina Hunger, who's a speech-language pathologist.
Interesting.
Now, Christina, she thought way outside the box and used something called AAC, augmentative and alternative communication,
Okay.
to help Stella communicate.
So AAC, you might have heard of those devices.
Right.
They're used by humans who have difficulty speaking.
Exactly.
So to use this with a dog,
I know.
that's pretty groundbreaking.
So tell me a little bit more about these devices.
Okay.
Like, how do they actually work?
Well, you can imagine like a board or a device with buttons on it,
Okay.
and each button represents a word or a phrase.
Gotcha.
And when you press a button, the device, it'll say the word out loud. Now, what Christina did is she adapted this technology
Okay.
to create a system where Stella can press buttons to communicate.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And what's really amazing is what she can communicate using this system.
I know there's a story where she woke up really early,
Oh, yeah.
like 5:50 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a little too early for some of us.
Definitely.
But instead of barking or whining,
Yeah.
she went over to the device and pressed the buttons to say, "Bed all done, come outside."
Wow. So she's like narrating her morning?
Basically, yeah, what does that even tell us about, like, a dog's cognitive abilities?
I mean, that's a really compelling example.
Yeah.
Because she's not just saying, like, I want to go outside or let me out.
Right.
She's expressing a complete thought.
Right, bed all done.
Yeah, like the concept of completion.
Yeah.
You know, an understanding of routine and time.
I know, it's so wild.
It really raises some questions about how complex their cognition might be.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Stella uses these buttons regularly to express her needs
Yes.
and even like her feelings.
Exactly. Like, remember that time she missed her usual snack?
Oh,
And she got frustrated?
Yeah.
And she used the buttons to say, "Mad, Stella, eat, eat, eat."
It's amazing
I know.
that she can like express those emotions
Yeah.
so clearly.
Yeah, it really opens up like a whole new dimension to understanding our dogs.
I know, and it makes you wonder, are we just like scratching the surface here?
Oh, absolutely. I think Stella's story is just the tip of the iceberg here.
Wow.
You know, it really hints at a much larger world of animal communication
That's incredible.
that's just waiting to be explored.
So Stella can learn to communicate like this.
Right?
What about other animals?
Hmm.
Could this be used more broadly?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, that's something Christina's exploring right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with her Hunger for Words movement.
Okay.
She believes that all animals could potentially communicate in more complex ways
Ah, yeah.
than we even realize.
So tell me a little bit more about this movement,
Okay.
Hunger for Words.
So her vision is to create a more inclusive approach to animal communication.
Okay.
So imagine a world where we could actually understand like the needs of animals in shelters,
Wow.
or maybe even collaborate with animals on conservation efforts.
That's a really interesting thought.
I know the implications for animal welfare and research are pretty significant.
Yeah, like if we could understand the specific needs of endangered species,
Exactly.
wouldn't that be amazing?
Imagine being able to understand an animal's distress signals at a zoo,
Right.
or even deciphering their preferences when we're trying to restore their habitats.
That would be incredible.
It could lead to much more effective and humane conservation strategies.
And what about our pets?
Yeah.
I mean, if we could just understand like what they want, what they need more clearly, wouldn't that deepen our relationships with them?
Most definitely.
Yeah,
Imagine knowing like why your cat suddenly starts acting out.
right. Or like why your dog has anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. Like being able to communicate at that deeper level.
Yeah.
I mean, it would definitely lead to more fulfilling relationships with our pets.
It all sounds really promising.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, are there any downsides
Hmm.
or ethical things we should think about?
Oh, yeah, that's a really important point to consider.
Okay.
As with any new technology, you know, we
Yeah.
need to proceed thoughtfully and ethically.
Yeah.
You know, one thing we have to be really careful about
Yeah.
is not to project human language and thoughts onto animals.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. We need to make sure we're approaching this on their terms
Uh-huh.
and respecting how they see the world and interact with it.
So it's about like finding a balance between unlocking that communication
Right.
and respecting their own unique ways of being.
Exactly. And it's a two-way street.
Right.
You know, it's not just about teaching animals to talk to us. It's also about us learning to listen to them and understand how they already communicate.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it seems like Christina's work is really like pushing the boundaries
It really is.
of what we thought was possible.
Yeah.
This is all so fascinating. And you mentioned that she wrote a book about all this.
Yes, she did. It's called How Stella Learned to Talk.
Okay.
It's a really great mix of personal stories about Stella and her journey
Cool.
and practical advice for anyone who wants to try ATC with their own pet.
Awesome. For those of us who are just starting to learn about this,
Yeah.
what are some of the key takeaways you think are important to highlight?
Okay, well, first and foremost, Stella's story really challenges us to reconsider animal intelligence.
Yeah.
It demonstrates that dogs and potentially other animals have cognitive abilities we may have underestimated.
Okay.
And it opens up all these new possibilities for how we interact with the animal kingdom.
Absolutely.
And it also highlights the importance of thinking outside the box, you know, finding creative ways to bridge that communication gap.
I love that.
Yeah, it's very inspiring.
Makes you wonder, like, what other breakthroughs are out there
Yeah.
when it comes to understanding how animals communicate.
I think we're just starting to scratch the surface, you know? There's so much we don't know about how they perceive the world,
Yeah.
how they talk to each other.
Right.
Imagine the things we could learn if we could understand their communication.
Yeah, it's almost like we're on the edge of this,
I know.
like, whole new era
Yeah.
of understanding between species.
Right. It's both exciting and a little daunting.
Yeah, I agree. It's like we have to be careful and thoughtful as we move forward.
Definitely. I think we need to remember that communication, it's not just about words.
Right.
It's about respect and empathy
Yeah.
and a willingness to listen to other species.
So to kind of wrap things up, we started off asking if talking dogs were just something out of science fiction.
Right.
But what we've learned is that with AAC,
Yeah,
we can actually unlock new levels of communication.
absolutely.
We talked about how this technology can help dogs like Stella
Mm-hmm.
express their thoughts, their needs, even their feelings.
And we went beyond just Stella's story.
Yeah.
We looked at the bigger picture of what this means,
Right.
how Christina's movement, Hunger for Words,
Yeah.
is leading the way for a future where we can connect better with all kinds of animals.
It's a future with so much potential,
Yeah.
but also one that comes with some serious responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we go deeper into animal communication,
Right.
we need to make sure we're being ethical
Uh-huh.
and always keeping in mind their well-being.
So this leaves you with something to think about.
Okay.
If we can really bridge that gap between humans and animals,
Yeah.
how will that change our relationship with the natural world? Will it make us more empathetic, more respectful towards all living things?
That's a great question to think about.
Yeah, as we move into this exciting time of discovery.
Who knows, maybe one day we'll be having regular chats with our pets.
I know.
Or even working with them to solve the world's biggest problem.
It's an amazing journey ahead, and I'm really excited to see where it leads.
Absolutely, me too.